If you came to my house, I let you in the door, I said, you can hang out tonight, and you started shit-talking my brother, I say, bro, I'm gonna give you a ride home. I don't think you should be here. That's not an affront to someone's sovereignty or free speech. It's like the worst thing that happened to you is I gave you a ride home. Oh, I'm gonna cry. She's going home. What's the problem? Home's nice. She was here conditionally. We said, hey, we kind of think you're being a dick. We're gonna give you a ride home. That's it.
In this video, Tim Pool welcomes a leftist into his studio for an interview. Tim Pool and his guests debate free speech and whether or not foreign nationals should be able to bash the United States. With that, let's watch Tim Pool crush this lunatic lefty.
So free speech does change throughout the generations.
Of course.
We never grew up in an era, we never had a time in our lives where you had true free speech the way the absolutists want it to be.
Yeah, I'm talking about the story that we tell about ourselves as a country, man. I'm talking about
it's not true.
I'm talking about the values that we, that we have collectively as people. And of course, those are always changing a little bit, and people are trying to pull them in one direction or another.
Split in half.
I would have thought, that. Like, I don't know that much about you. I know you're very involved with Occupy and stuff like that and protest movements, which I think is cool work. I would have thought that, like, a student writing an op-ed about another country's war and her own institution's support for it, vis-a-vis our country's foreign policy, would be the kind of thing that you would think is a sort of free speech that we should value. That is the kind of free speech that I think, I personally think, like, a lot of the idea of America is built upon. I think it's one of the good things about the country, that this is a country where you can come here and you can express your opinion mildly in the newspaper.
What happened at Kent State?
And I think Kent State was bad.
My point is,
I
there's
think
things
it was
we
bad,
wish
man.
America was. But I kind of feel like a non-citizen
But this one you said you
deported.
think is good. You're not sitting here going, man, yeah, that's
She got
a bummer.
deported, dude. What are you talking about? She didn't get shot in the face. A conditional visa was revoked. I'm not crying about it. I don't care.
I mean, I think she cares. I think
That's
her
too
family
fucking
cares.
bad.
I think the people of her university care. I think
Change the law, man. This is a marginal issue for a single person who was in violation of the INA as it's enforced by a government that was elected by a popular majority, or I should say by a plurality, but the popular vote. So let me pull this up because this is what we were talking about.
I'm with Tim. I really don't care either. Like you said, they didn't rough this person up. I assume they're talking about a real case. I haven't heard of it, but if they wrote an op-ed just bashing the United States, it seems to me that it's similar to visiting someone's home. I'm very gracious and I mind my P's and Q's when I'm in someone else's home because I don't want them to get the impression I'm being disrespectful or not grateful for their hospitality. But if I went into someone's home that I'd never been to before and just started saying, wow, this is your house? What a shithole. Jeez, I hate it here. Oh my God. That's your kitchen? It sucks. If you just look at that situation, would there be any question about who's in the wrong there? On top of the fact that people that are in our country as foreign nationals are visitors, we don't owe them anything. We're welcoming them into our country. If they hate it so much, they don't need to be here, especially the a-holes that come from another country, get to benefit from our great country, and then, go to college campuses and talk about what a terrible country we are. I've got zero sympathy for them. Not to mention, I'm just thinking about China off the top of my head, but we know for a fact that China will send a lot of people over here to study in our universities and try to gain intel about research or about the way the United States are doing things or about things that are being developed at universities, research that's being done. So beyond just that person being a pest and when us not wanting them in our country because they're visiting and just told everyone how bad it is, it's also a national security issue because you're going to stand out like a sore thumb when our government is on heightened alert that there are people that are trying to subvert our universities and get intelligence from our universities and report back to China or whatever country they're from. So if you're out protesting and saying how much you hate the country, it's like you're wearing a big sign that says deport me. I don't understand what's hard to understand about that. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Earlier, this is RCP from April 22nd. Every age bracket, to be fair, 40-49 is a tie, but Real Clear Politics aggregate shows from all of the latest polls, 70 plus is the only age group that is a negative view of Trump's job.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
This is a popular majority.
I'm just trying to make sense of your position around free speech, because you agree with me about all the past things in America that you're talking about. Kent State, you're talking about George Carlin and all these other things, and these were bad abrogations of free speech. And
Indeed, deportation is not a murder. You're going home. I'm giving you a ride home.
But
Well, if you came to my house, I let you in the door. I said, you can hang out tonight. And you started shit talking my brother. I say, bro, I'm going to give you a ride home. I don't think you should be here. That's not an affront to someone's sovereignty or free speech. It's like the worst thing that happened to you is I gave you a ride home. Oh, I'm going to cry. She's going home. What's the problem? Home's nice. She was here conditionally. We said, hey, we kind of think you're being a dick. We're going to give you a ride home. That's it.
I mean, when I get a ride home,
Kent State,
six
they
guys
shot
don't
people and
normally
killed
shove me into a van, and then my family doesn't know where I am. That's
How about you're at a bar and you're acting out in some way, and they say, listen, buddy,
do you feel
security throws you out of the bar?
Do you feel this
gets
woman
you a
was
cab.
acting out? Do you think she was acting inappropriately? Do you think that she was acting?
I've already told you I did not.
Okay,
I said,
so then how are you justifying what happened?
I don't think you can.
It's legally narrow that it can happen. Therefore, it's good.
I don't think you know how to
separate.
separate. I just don't think you know how to comprehend the separation between. I have no issue with a woman making her argument. I think it was absurd to claim she's adhering to Hamas because she's critical of Israel. But her visa is conditional. And it is the authority of these United States and the Secretary of State to revoke that. So it's okay. Right? Trump won the popular vote. This is the agenda.
Man. Sorry.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Man, this is the hump that I can't get over.
Clearly.
You don't have any problem with what she actually did, right? But Trump Trump and Rubio had the narrow legal ability to do it.
You're not following.
Do you agree with their decision to do it?
I think there is a net negative, to a degree, that foreigners come to this country to dictate our politics. Be it Canadian,
I'm sorry,
British.
dictate our politics, or just give their opinion in the newspaper that's dictating?
I'll talk on the language. To come here and advocate for policies of the American people.
So you feel that foreign nationals of all kinds, when they're in the United States, should never speak about our politics ever, upon pain of legal punishment. That is a position that you have about America generally.
Did they agree to it? When they applied for the visa under the INA, did they agree to those terms?
I don't know.
The answer is yes, they did. It clearly states when you're coming here on a condition, you can't do certain things. It literally says you won't protest. And we still would allow them to hold a sign up or something. But maybe if they didn't.
But apparently we don't allow them to hold a sign up.
And I don't care. When they applied for the visa under the INA, did they agree to those terms?
I don't know.
The answer is yes, they did. It clearly states when you're coming here on a condition, you can't do certain things. It literally says you won't protest.
I don't know if any of you guys recognize this guest, but his name, I think it's Adam Conover. He had a little bit of a career in show business or something, and he went on Joe Rogan's show, that has to be a few years ago now, and debated in favor of men and women's sports. Knew nothing about human biology, and absolutely knew nothing about sports. But he was giving his opinion, and he looked like a complete dumbass. His career fell off a cliff after that. I'm curious what he's doing now, because you didn't hear from him at all. He was like the joke of the internet for a long time. Look, when people are here conditionally in the interest of national security, unfortunately, once in a while, maybe someone will be deported that, in your eyes, my eyes, someone else's eyes, for an quote unquote unfair reason. As a human being, I say, gosh, that sucks for that person. But I stand by the fact that, okay, yeah, I won't lose any sleep over it. And like Tim said, they're not being sent to the gulag. They were sent home. In the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of life, this is just a speed bump in that person's life. I bet most people think they've been treated unfairly at some point in their life. Everyone faces challenges. But if this person that was deported is a hard worker, a good student, smart, or whatever it is, this is not going to derail their life. They'll be fine. They have to make some adjustments, but I promise they'll be fine. No one got violent with this person. I mean, give me a break. And to the guest, I think it's Adam guest question, they can't speak about politics at all. Of course they can, but it's probably not a good idea when you're here as a guest to support a terrorist organization like Hamas or write op-eds that say how much the United States sucks. Those kind of actions just seem like you're begging to be deported. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
And we still would allow them to hold a sign up or something. But maybe if they didn't,
but apparently we don't allow them to hold a sign.
I don't
up. So
care.
I'm not asking about what they agreed to. I'm not asking about the legal justification.
Don't agree to things you don't want to adhere to.
Do you, Tim Pool, believe that as a moral issue, as a practical issue? Do you think that America should be a country in which every foreign national in the country should feel that they should never speak about American politics under pain of legal punishment?
No.
You don't think that that's, you don't agree with that?
You presented me an absolute, right? You gave me the extreme end.
Okay, so Rumesa Ozturk, I think,
nationals-
is a really illustrative example because it was
Foreign
such a
nationals should
mild
understand
version.
that they've made an agreement upon entering this country that if they are in violation of the terms of their visa, it may be revoked. If they come here with the intent of advocating against U.S. foreign policy, that is a consequence. Speech has consequences. I think we're getting hung up on the issue that I've clearly answered, and I understand maybe you don't understand, but
We want to hear from you. What did you guys think about this conversation about free speech and foreign nationals between Tim Pool and the guy I think is Adam Conover? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.